Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 69th episode of the HSBG Podcast. I'm your host, Educatedcollins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady. Shady, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Collins. How are you this week?
I'm okay. Not the greatest week, I would say. Maybe one of the lower weeks, I would say, for this question, but whatever. I'll move on. But we do have an interesting episode. Uh, I guess I'll talk about it, once we talk about our weekly overview. But it's gonna be a little different, but it should be pretty interesting. We do always start with the weekly overview. However, I haven't played this week really. I played a little bit, but I was playing horribly, so just stopped playing, and I didn't come back to playing. So really haven't played any of the patch. I've played like 0 games, so it's maybe going to be a Shady centric episode. He's kind of going to be directing most of the stuff because I really don't know. I haven't actually looked at the patch, so I really have no idea. So it's going to be interesting.
Like I said, I'll just like give you my experiences and you can piggyback on that because this is good stuff to talk about. But when you say like playing horribly, do you just mean like you had some bad
Yeah, I've
games, or
lost
did
like
you
1,500 MMR, like a couple of days. It was not
Sure,
it
okay.
wasn't fun. Yeah.
I mean, I get that feel, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, okay,
But
it's not just the game; it's kind of me,
it has
but
to
it's
be me. Yeah, there's no
yeah, I
explanation. So I'm
understand.
just
Yeah.
not. I'm not. I wasn't playing. I never went back to playing. I thought maybe I'd play once the patch dropped, but didn't do it. So
Not feeling it yet.
maybe I'll play after the episode. Who knows? But
Yeah.
anyways,
All right.
that's been
Sure.
my week. How's your week, Shade?
Right. Overall good. Overall good. I was, so almost everyone I talked to, they were like, "Oh man, this Chroma Wing shit. It's too much. I hate it. When are we getting the patch? I hate this shit." And I'm just sitting there, like very quietly, like, "Oh yeah, it's horrible." Just like winning and winning and winning. So I was like, I kind of like the Chroma Wing patch. Like, I understand that it had to go, absolutely, because I don't think it was balanced at all. Right? We talked about how stupid it was, about how it's like 2 golden senseis on your board for
I mean,
free.
that's what people always say, right? When if people are doing bad with the patch, they want it to go. If they don't, they're like, "Oh,
Right.
it's bad, but it's fine. Like I don't
Right.
care."
Yeah. So
And
like for me it had that friend of a friend feeling to it. Not that it was crazy, but it's like I know it can't stay, but I'm doing kind of well on it, so I don't mind it. But I know it had to
yeah, but
go.
that's just pure bias. Like, you can't really
Yeah,
take
yeah,
that
yeah.
as
Pure
a.
bias. Pure bias. I think for me it worked well because I didn't take a lot of damage, and through certain influences, my playstyle has become pretty damn greedy, play for first, very very aggressive playing for first. And if people have a lot of one reps on your board, you don't really get punished too much for taking those risks. So yeah, meta now is a bit different. Lots more 3 drops on the board. Like you fight a Togwaggle or a Lich Bazil or whatever. So damage is a bit more spiky right now. Anyways, but we can talk about that later. So yeah, my week's been good. I'm on the front page of EU and NA right now, so it's been a little bit more relaxed for
I'm
me.
not.
I know. That's why I don't really want to talk about it, man. We were like, talk about your week, Shady. Talk about your week, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. I played, I won, I'm doing okay, So it's been, yeah, for me, it's been relaxing that I can play on one account and I kind of just can fall back on the other, right? So I can take a little bit more risks here, and yeah, it's been paying off. Just playing very aggressively for first in a lot of my games on the new patch as well. So yeah, weekly overview for me was good week. So big contrast.
Sounds great. All right, good for you.
Yeah,
Moving on.
like,
Yeah,
I was honestly gonna say my weekly overview. I played some games calls. It's fine. Let's go next. We don't have to talk about my week.
no, it's fine. I already know.
Yeah, you see the leaderboard. It's
I
fine.
don't need you to explain it. I can already hear it in my head. But I do want to mention we're going to be having a special episode next Wednesday. I do think it is important to mention because you're not gonna know. Oh, why are we doing it on Wednesday? But we do have some some differences for the next episode. The next episode's the real episode 69. This one's the filler, I would say. So
Next one's a banger, chat. Gotta be there. Next one's a
I
banger.
should remind everyone some other time. Maybe I'll post it on Twitter or something. But yeah, it's gonna be on Wednesday next week, so it's not gonna be on Friday like usual, due to other constraints. But it should be fun, should be interesting, can't miss this one. To be fair, you can't miss all the other ones either. But yeah, you really shouldn't miss the next one. I think should be pretty interesting. So stay tuned for that. Should be a fun one, and that's all I can say about it. I'm allowed to say Kobe. Anyways, next topic we have is just a shout out for Jeef because he's number one in NA and EU. And Shady wanted to shout him out. So, here you go. I asked Shady, what do you want to talk about? He said, talk about Jeef.
That's cool, man. Like, he's farmed EU. Like, you'd love this, right? He's farmed EU so fast. It makes so much sense because you know what it feels like when you're just really, really at ease, and you know what the plays are. You know what's gonna win. You know what's not gonna win. You make the right decisions, and he's just had several sessions on EU where like 400 MMR plus 500 MMR, 550 MMR, right? So it's been a really nice streak.
Now you can ask him which one's easier, and you already know the answer to that. So let's just move
Wait, say again?
Now I can ask him which one's easier.
To be fair, I think he was asked that question and he said, "Oh, I can't answer that." Yeah, so I'm not sure if he just didn't want to be political about it, or if he said like, "Yes,
it's probably the same, like different, like that's the real answer."
I will say I'm like I'm somewhat qualified now to answer that question, and it feels like the fucking same games.
Yeah, I know. Like we all know the real answer. We're just kind of joking around.
Real answer is it feels the same. Yeah. But NA is a lot easier. Just so you know, chat.
Sure.
So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to.
This is supposed to be a celebration of Jeef, not a rivalry between the regions. Come on, let's move on.
You brought it up, man. You brought it up.
I did, and anyway. I'm moving on as well.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that it's gonna be fun to see Jeef, XQN, and Senior compete for the number one EU finish.
Yeah, I do want to say Senior held is also on both of these lists. So is Waterloo. Yeah. Right,
I think Senior has held rank 1 EU and NA before simultaneously.
Yeah, but like 3 people are on both lists.
Yeah,
that's silly.
Where
are the other good players?
I think it also showcases, right, like those really, really elite players that have such a good handle on the game at that time that they just know, right? They can just queue and like, okay, unless I get really unlucky, I'm probably going to be winning and I'm going to be climbing.
It kind of also puts a damper on those people who are like, I could do it. You could, huh? They literally can do it. Like, they can get on a new account and climb to top 10 very easily. And it's not an excuse like you don't have time, right? Obviously, it's going to take more time to climb one, but like people can climb both, right? It's not like if they just focused on one, right, they'd also, it would take half the time. It takes
that argument the way where people say, oh, you have to play like 12 hours a day to maintain your spot on the leaderboard. It's like, that'd be 24 hours a day, my friend, if you're keeping both your spots, right? So
it's really just a case of how good are you and how maybe more how consistent are you well.
If you can have several like 400 plus MMR, 500 plus MMR sessions in a week, you climb insanely fast, right? Like
but that's basically not losing.
Yeah. Like I had a streak like that myself, where I just thought like, I had 10 games in a row where I didn't go lower than second. That's good, right? It's like you're like, holy shit, yeah, it goes very fast. So you can't lose. That's the thing. Yeah, if you have those days. And then, promptly the next day I start with a top 8, right? So it's I'm not there yet, that level of consistency, but you do have that respect for these players, because Senior is definitely no newcomer here. Same for Waterloo, right? And Jeef, like they're all, it's not like, they're having their meta right now. They've done this in several other metas. So.
Yeah, the people at the top are usually always
Yeah.
there. Like it. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to break in because the players that are good are good. They're not
Yeah.
like they're not. It's not a fluke. They're there.
And they
So
take that experience into the next meta, right? And it just keeps building and
yeah.
building.
So you just see the same people over and over, over after you play for a while. So it's just kind of not a surprise. That you'll see them in the next meta. Like there's a reset happening pretty soon. So
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I'm
then it's the same people at the
wouldn't be
top.
shocked if it's the same people. Yeah, like you just
Like at the
snapped.
start, maybe not, right? It's just a bit more
Well,
grinders.
snapshot like the top 20 or 35 or whatever, and then just see like how many of those are in the after the for the next qualification. How many people are there?
Right, right.
Probably
Yeah,
be
I'd
like
say
30 of them,
I think that's fair. I think if you give it that month, that's a good time because it's like the first few days. It's a lot of the time. It's just
first
the
few
people that.
days don't really matter. Yeah, let's be
Oh, don't
honest.
say that,
Like,
man.
I mean, it doesn't. Let's be
I feel
honest.
you. No, I feel you, Collins. But the thing is, like, this is how I feel about it, right? When I see that, where people are playing on like day 2, and they're like, oh, I'm ranked 25 right now, and I'm like, but it's like 4K, right? Because like your boost is still going. It's like I don't want to take that away from them, right? I also don't want to say because you could say, right, there's definitely a method to that with like how much can you play while still not losing too much and this and that, but it doesn't give you a good picture of what the later season is going to look like. That's for sure, right? Yeah. So once all the boosts have run out and the people that couldn't play, 12 hours a day have caught up, yeah, it shows you a much better picture. But it's quite exciting, right? It's hype, the ladder reset. So that's very cool. We're gonna get that this month, so that's gonna be a fun little race at the start. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Finally, I think the main topic will be the patch. There was a patch apparently. Who knew? So, I mean, came out a couple days ago. So, um, pretty sure the meta is like stabilized, right? Like usually the first day or two, it's like kind of old meta because people aren't fully. Which obviously the meta is not like stabilized, so that maybe that's wrong, right? But it's gonna be more. People are gonna have a higher grasp on what's actually good and what's actually like maybe not the approach to do things. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, should be interesting. But I haven't played it, so I don't actually know.
Have you
Uh,
watched some
no, I
BGs
haven't.
or?
I haven't watched any BGs.
Okay, yeah, this
Yeah,
is fun then. All right,
no
this is
idea.
fun.
It's kind of similar to when I uh, went. Like I left like during the frog patch, the leaper.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think you didn't do Doomsayer, right?
yeah.
You
I
skipped.
didn't play at all. So
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't. I guess I didn't want to because I had a device, but I didn't play on my device. It's not the same, You're out. I don't know. Anyways, it's probably similar to that. So,
Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Let's dive in then. This is fun because then I can have your fresh take on it as well, right?
yeah, fresh takes. Ooh. I guess I forgot to untransform this. Let me reset it. Okay, that looks
All right. So do you just want to go over the changes and like we talk about it then, or do you want me to just run with it?
better. What do you mean?
So are you going to cover like, oh, this has changed, and what did this mean? What does this mean, Shady, or blah blah blah? Or do you want me to just say like, oh, Lich has moved to tier 1 and this has happened, etc.?
No, I mean, we could talk. I mean, you could do whatever you want, Shitty. I actually don't.
Yeah. So I think it's best. I think it's best if you go over it, right, and then I'll give you my take.
All right, let's go over it then. Battlegrounds upgrades. You want my opinion or no?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I don't
Sure.
have an opinion really. Lich
Well,
Bazaars would move to tier 1. That doesn't mean anything unless I know what the change is, which is right here. But I'll look at it.
yeah. It changes. Yeah.
Daryl, Deathwing. Are all of these also adjusted or no?
I think that they have lost armor.
Yeah, no, but
Well,
like, so this has a effect change. Is Daryl getting a buffer or nerf or anything or
Daryl stays the same,
Daryl's the same? Okay.
but I'm not sure if Daryl had 0 armor to begin with, right? So he might have gotten a buff
Why
there, right?
really? Why don't they tell you what the armor was before?
Yeah,
It really
it's
doesn't
weird.
make sense to me.
Deathwing got a buff,
The
just a
Deathwing
strict
got a
buff.
buff, okay.
Elise got
What
a
got changed? Like Deathwing,
yeah.
Elise,
I'll
Guff.
explain, right? So Elise got a rework, Guff got a nerf, Sneed wasn't really. It's just like a wording change. So the only real gameplay changes are
The
Elise
middle
and
three.
basically Elise is the only
To
gameplay
be
change.
fair, I need to know what the changes are right before I
Yeah,
ask the
but we'll
comments,
go
so it
over it.
doesn't
We'll go over it.
matter.
Yeah,
Um,
let's start with Lich then,
so
because Lich is.
Lich had 10 armor, right? Now it has no armor.
She was in the 7 to
Yeah,
10 bracket.
so she had. What is the
Yeah.
change? Take 2, add a
Yeah.
coin. Take 4, add 2 coins. With no armor.
Gain
Take.
2 gold this turn only, so you don't
Oh, it's
stack
not
it.
a coin.
You have to spend it that turn.
So turn 1 you tap. You play 2 cards. Is that what it is?
Do you want me to help you out, or or do you want to think about it?
Turn 1
first?
you have 1. Turn 1 you have 3 gold.
3
Right?
gold, so you
you
can go up to
buy.
5. And turn 2,
But
you can go.
you can't save it. So you do
You
nothing.
cannot bank it. No,
So you do
cannot bank
nothing turn 1.
You have to spend it.
Turn 2. Oh, unless you get a token, right? If you get a token, then you just get 2 cards.
You can do that. So what people have been doing, Collins, if you tap on turn 1, you can go to 2. If you tap on turn 2, you can go to 3. So you could be tier 3 on turn 2 with this change.
Oh yeah, you can just tap and
Tap level.
go to. Huh.
So this is, I think this
But
is the
you take
first
10
hero
damage.
ever. Yeah, you could absolutely mauled. Like your face gets
So you
bashed
start
in.
turn.
And you have no armor. So I think when this change was announced, my instinct was, ooh, I don't want to play this. And I think a lot of other people had the same idea. And I think it's because we've really gotten used to Lich having that 10 armor, and it's kind of nice, and you get to play the coins. And she was honestly one of my favorite heroes, like very just consistent, flexible. You get to just do some cool stuff. But now that I've played it, I'm like, holy shit, you just have access to cards where no one really has business having access to at that stage of the game.
But do you tap often? How often? Do you just go to 3 and you stop tapping? Or
I went straight to tier 5. I literally leveled on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4. I was tier 5 straight away.
You take 16.
I know, it's ridiculous. So I wouldn't recommend that. I don't think you can do that every time, unless there's a ghost in your lobby. I think if there's a ghost in your lobby, it's actually OP, right? Like if you catch the ghost 2 times, you probably just win the game because you can just level.
I mean, you can't tell me, oh, do that. There's the ghost. I can't maneuver that.
But there was no ghost. There was no ghost in my lobby, right? So I got away with that. I won that game. I destroyed that lobby because I just got a brand so early, right? So I went. I got a brand probably before Brand, the hero, would get his brand. Right. So it's like you can do some really dumb things. But I don't think that that's the standard.
Demons need to be in?
If you find the Mal'Ganis, it's insane, of course.
Yeah,
you get 2 extra gold every turn, right? It's insane. So if you find a Mal'Ganis, it's really good. I think, it's obviously early days. I don't think there's really a consensus on how to play this hero right now. But
you are recommending the 3-on-3.
I think that 3-on-3 is sort of a minimum. Yeah. I think, well, not 3-on-3, 3-on-2.
3-on-2.
Right? Yeah, that's the thing. It's the first hero ever, I think, that goes 3-on-2. So, like, not even Omu does that shit, right?
You can't. You don't get to level turn 1. That's not okay.
Exactly. So, the one awkward thing is, so you start with 3 gold. So you level on 3, you level on 4 gold, and then you have 5 gold, and then you tap, and then it's like 7. So you have like 1 gold too much. So you can like roll buy on 3.
Or change your roll and then check and see if you want to level.
No, I think it's the full price for level because you're leveling so early, right? So I think you have to tap level straight away. I don't think you can roll tap level, but I'm not sure. Maybe you can.
Okay.
But
you don't recommend it. You take too much damage, basically.
I think that going to 4 is most likely fine, but I went straight to 5. So
Yeah, that,
I
that that
can't
doesn't sound fun. You're taking
I,
16 plus the
I can't in
extra.
good
You're
con.
taking
Well,
like 28, aren't
I
you?
will have to experiment a bit more with it, but for me, I stabilized and I destroyed the lobby. But I think it's very easy to top 8 as well. So for the only reason I did that, by the way, is I went to 3, my shop sucked. I went to 4, my shop sucked. And chat was like, level again, Pog, level again. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
And you
Why
had
the
like
fuck?
12 HP or something.
Um, I think I stabilized. Like I think I took one more hit, right? I went to 5, took one more hit, and I think I went to 7 or so, and then I never lost the fight
So
after
you
that.
went to 7 HP,
Well,
okay.
not by tapping, right? Because I lost the
Well, I
fight
mean,
after
you
going to
have to
5.
lose the fight. You have no
Yeah,
board. You have no board. How are you winning the fight? I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
so you stabilized at 7. Okay, that's even worse than I thought.
Well, that's going to 5. I
I
think if you
know,
buy
I
them,
know, right? But
yeah.
like, let's say you stabilize at 4, you
I,
probably have
I
like
think if you
16 or
stabilize on
something.
4, yeah, I think
You-
I think staying above damage cap is very possible if you go to 4.
Yeah,
Because then you lose that one round, and then the
but you
turn after
can't
that.
tap anymore. You're done.
Well, if you find them
Well, I
again, if
guess
you
if you're
can,
on
but
7, you can tap. Because it's like
yeah,
whatever.
sure. If you're that low, but if you're above damage
Whatever.
cap, you're not going to want to. So a hero that I thought, right, when I first evaluated, like, this is just going to be, this is impossible, right? It's no armor, take 4. Jesus, nah, I'm not going to play this. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'll have to try it out. So the reason why, by the way, I was like, you know what, chat, I have to try it, is they remove their armor, right? So
Yeah.
that tells me that they play tested this and they're like, oh shit, this is too good, right? We can't give this armor. And I completely agree. If you give this 10 armor, it's disgusting. Like you can't give this 10 armor. Like, because then you actually always go to 5, right? Before you buy a minion. Because you have 10 armor, you don't give a shit. You just start by, you're like, oh, buy 2 mama bears on what is it, like 8 gold or 7 gold or
You
something.
start 17 HP.
It's
So
ridiculously early,
7,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like you would just like the first minions you buy are 5 drops. It would be really dumb. So thank you for indeed removing the armor. I agree. It'd be
Yeah,
very
but I
tough.
mean, is this hero like good design in the first place? Being able to go three
Yeah,
on two,
I
like
think
you
that
say
they're
thank you, but then first of all you have to, like I haven't played it, I don't know, right? I haven't played against it, so I don't have any like visceral emotion
yeah,
to this hero, right? But some
sure.
Togwaggle and stuff like this isn't right, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I have no
So yeah,
idea.
I get where you're
I'm
coming.
more usually the voice of reason in these situations where I'm just like, no, this is not.
I will say that I think they are indeed pushing the envelope to see. Let's see what's possible. Let's see what we can get away with. I think from a pure balance point, it's very toxic, right? Because you create that situation where it's it's like Togwaggle, where it's like you lose, you lose, you
If
lose.
it does well, you're dealing 15.
You are dealing 15,
Okay.
and you don't even need to be
Don't
doing that well
don't like
because
that.
yeah, you will be dealing 15. So from a pure balance point, I don't think it's a good call. I don't think I want to see much more of this. But like that's why I said I'm very happy that she doesn't have armor because you do see her top 8 as well, right? People do tap, tap, tap,
I
and never stabilize.
imagine like it's take 4. That's so much.
Yeah, but there's a lot of lobbies where you're like, oh, the lich didn't die. Fuck.
Fuck
Right?
yeah,
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm fighting her. That's minus 15. Because like, let's say you go to 4 and you like buy 2 Peggies. Like your first 2 units you buy are Peggies. Like you're just gonna destroy everyone. Right?
yeah. Well, Peggy's a weird. That's not the example we use for the standard. 2 Peggy's. That happens all the time.
Okay, so yeah, but like, let's just say any like a Peggy and any pirate at that point. Like if those are literally the first minions you
Sure.
buy,
Let's take
every,
Peggy out of the equation, please. Thank you. That's
yeah, you
what.
can do something with like Domo on 4. You can insta buy Bonker, Dynamic Duo, like 4 drops, right? Tank and a Ring Matron or whatever. So you can do nasty shit
All
on
right,
4.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds playable. That's my takeaway
Yeah.
here. I will try the
Mhm.
hero.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll definitely try, but it's definitely that it's a risky hero where you
Shady,
can
it's
just
fine. You don't have to, you don't have to tell me that.
no, I'm telling the viewers as well. But it's the same thing with Togwaggle, where if you go 3-on-3 with Tog and your shop suck, yeah, sure, it kind of sucks, but on average, the hero is going to be great. So I'm not sure if it's going to be as good as Togwaggle, but it definitely feels like it's in that same ballpark where it's going to level fast by high tier units.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, we can move on.
I feel like we can talk about. Well, I have nothing to talk about, but I feel like you can talk about this for a long time. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, because it's one of those changes that did a lot. That's a big change, right? Yeah, you now have a hero that can level on turn 1. That's a big deal. We haven't done that
So
before.
Guff's getting nerfed from 3-2 to 2-2. What's my thoughts? I don't know. Like the hero wasn't like broken to me. I do think the hero was like very safe, right? Like when you looked at the list, it was top 5 in terms of average win rate. So maybe this nerfs it a little bit, but I don't think +3/+2 is going to be. But I guess it's like permanent. Like it's 5 attack every time, or so, like 4 or 5 attack every time. So I guess that is relevant. The health is more important though, but if you have no attack, it's bad. So I can see this affecting it a little bit, maybe making it a little worse.
For me, it's really one of those changes that, from a selfish point of view, don't care. Didn't play Guff, definitely not gonna play Guff. Whatever. But
You were the one that encouraged me to play Guff. It's so funny.
Well,
No.
I think that okay. So let me rephrase. When it came out, and specifically for spell lobbies, I did do well with it. But I made that transition of consistently trying to win the game, and I did come around to it where you just invest too much money into things that aren't units. Like these heroes that have these hero powers that, like you have a Scabs where you just get an extra unit, right? So that's good for your economy. You have a Hooktusk, you have a Maiev, right? All these heroes have hero powers that help you triple, help you with your economy. You have a hero like a Guff, it just makes your board strong, but it doesn't help you with your economy. So it's not going to help you triple.
It doesn't help you win. It gives you it gives you tempo and health, and then you have to like throw all of your cards away if you want to win, which you don't normally do. So you're kind of like stuck in this like, how do I make this thing work mindset. So it's not a winning hero, but it doesn't like top 8 if you stick to the curve per se.
So that is something where you're completely right. I have come around to that. I thought that it was easier in spell lobbies to then power level and win. And honestly, you can, that could still happen.
You can still do that. Yeah, I have one with Guff. It's just harder.
It's more like, did you get like on the house?
And I guess other people have to low roll a little bit, because if they high roll it, then you don't win. Like,
you're not as good at high rolling. Yeah. So I'd say overall, probably an impactful change, because a lot of people picked Guff, right, and did well with him.
Yeah.
But I think for the really, really top players, they're like, oh, Guff? Yeah, I didn't play Guff. And I don't see a lot of Guff, or I didn't see a lot of Guff pre-nerf in my lobby, right? At least not for how
I mean, this might be like a low MMR change, or you know what I mean? Like it might be doing super well, like in lower MMR, so they nerfed it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely it. I think these heroes that have this stat button, they will pretty much always do worse in higher MMR.
And they do better in lower MMR. That's the way you should phrase it, Shady. Don't say they do worse in higher. They do better in lower MMR. So it sounds more positive. Yeah, I'm making a change.
So I shouldn't say like Guff is not complete shit when you're, like getting points for going.
Which it's not though. It's not complete.
No. But I mean, once
it just doesn't win.
Okay, so I had a run today where I had 5 third places, and I think I gained like 30 something points in total.
Yeah.
Just to drive the point home, we're like, I don't give a shit about third. I don't give a shit about fourth. I need second or first. All right. And then when you need second or first, you really don't want to be playing.
Yeah, Guff isn't for you.
So that's exactly. So, you should say like, hey, if you get points for going fourth, the 3-2 Guff was A-okay, man. Like, great pick. Always pick it. Now it's going to be less of a slam. I think it's still going to be like safe-ish, right, in the lower levels. But I mean, honestly, just not a very exciting hero. So I feel like we
Yeah.
can just move. I mean, the next one's also not that
I remember
exciting.
when I like you get like a full reaper and I'm like 3 attack, okay. Now I'm gonna be like, 3 attack, 2 attack. Yeah, that's like kind of shitty. But yeah, sure, whatever. What's moving on? Deathwing 2 attack to 3 attack. That's what it used to have.
Yep.
That's what it initially had, and it was one of the best heroes in the game. So now with this change, it's gonna be one of the best heroes again. Right? Right, Shady? Right?
Right. Yep. The hero power really helps you triple and find, Orgazoa.
To be fair, like
Orgazoa.
Rat Pack was on 2 at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was the big difference. Now Rat Pack's on 3. So even the change is not going to be.
I think that there is some room still for Deathwing in demon lobbies where you open up Icky Imp.
Yeah,
and
Icky
then
Imp. Same thing with
Greybow.
Greybow. Yeah, Icky Imp really allows you to do a lot of things.
So that's a big deal. The
going
Greybow.
from 3 attack base to 4 attack base is pretty high. Like you get to kill more things. So because on 2 there's not that many things with 5 attack. So you end up killing most of you end up training 1-for-1 with most of the things, and if you have an Icky Emperor too, then it can do a lot. So yeah, it could be safe and maybe allows you to ramp and whatnot. So
I think it's a fair change. I don't think it turns it into a premium hero or anything, but it's a fair change.
It's more Deathwing.
Yeah, you just get more Deathwing.
More Deathwing.
That's a good way of saying it.
Kill Toss is getting changed. Every third
it's
minion
a quality
you
of life
buy,
change.
every card minion you play. So instead from buying, it goes to play. So you get to choose.
You get more control, right? So you don't have those awkward
But it's essentially the same minion hero.
In terms of stat output, yes.
So then I don't care.
But it's just one of those things where
I never play this hero anyways.
You wanna like buy the gambler.
At least when you
this at least is the cool one. In terms of reworks, Lich and Elise are
you're so okay with moving past this. It wasn't.
No, it's just not exciting. No one plays Kale. This will not make people play Kale. I mean, I have played a Kale in a tournament occasionally when I'm just like, okay, I fucking have to, whatever.
Yeah, sure, all right.
It's just not an exciting hero.
I played Elise, so you said this one's exciting, but what if I like the old Elise? Let me see. Cost 1. So it costs gold. Discover a minion from your tavern tier. Cost 1. Discover a minion from your tavern tier. Huh. Wait, I need to read the whole thing. Cost 1 more. Okay, that makes it.
Cost like thinking. Wait, I get a 6-drop every turn for 1 gold? Huh? How does this work?
Cost 1 more after every use. Okay. Yeah. So you do have to be picky, somewhat.
Yeah.
I mean, people weren't using their maps early. So wait, then there's no map. Maps are gone.
You don't get maps. No more maps. No more maps.
And if they bring buddies back, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, they'd have to rework this one. Or they don't, and it's just like,
it's just weird. Yeah,
that'd be funny, right? Yeah, I could see it honestly. That the buddy just still gives you maps. Weird. I hope not.
Why doesn't it say give you a recruitment map? Why doesn't that do that on your tavern tier? Like, why
right, a map that costs 0 then.
Right? Yeah, but it costs 1.
Oh, you mean like, but that would maybe be just harder to implement, where you'd have
that can't be the reason.
Yeah, it would be nice.
You just you spend and then you get the map instead.
And the map, the number of the map.
Yeah, and then it synergizes with like some Naga stuff and whatnot.
Wait, but the map would cost 0.
Sure, but it costs something to get the map.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know. Cool. Well, there is synergy with maps. Maps have I played at least in Naga lobbies sometimes, because like sometimes you start with like some Naga synergy and you can just like use the map.
You're like a Brute and
Brute or the 4-2 or whatever. Like there was some synergy. Now you don't have that, so it doesn't even matter. However, this might be a better hero power, so like who really cares if my like the synergy, but like if the hero power is better, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
Well,
So
it's very flexible, obviously, right? It costs 1, then it costs 2, then it costs 3. So
it's
you
not
get the
it's
real.
flexible initially, and then it's not very flexible at all. Right? If you're spending 4 for a discover, that's it's not. I wouldn't call that
Well,
flexible.
you wouldn't use it at that point, most likely, right? So what I'm saying is the hero, I think, became more flexible because you can now choose when you're going to do that, right? So there's a couple natural points where you can do this. I think for most players, the way how they're going to use this is if they just go follow a normal standard curve where they level on 2, the first gold you're going to float is on the 8 gold turn where you level to 4. So I think for most players that are just interested in trying this, it's going to be like, oh, I level to 4 and then I hero power and then I discover
Yeah.
a 4 drop. I think it's perfectly fine. But I for instance, had a curve where I leveled to 3 on 6 gold, and that was like 5. So then I hung a gold, and I'm like, oh, I'll just hero power for a 3 drop here. And that worked out really well for me. So that's why I'm saying it's more flexible in that, I get a bad shot, maybe I'll just hero power after leveling. Um, you can also do stuff on tier 1 with this, where I've had Xedon come into my chat saying he's had very, very good results playing Elise, where he's gotten like a tipper on 1, and then on 2 he'll buy whatever, and then on 3, instead of like buy roll float, he'll go like buy hero power float.
Yeah, with the
Hero
tipper.
power.
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
tipper makes sense.
you can like hero power another tipper then, or Chroma Wing. Like Chroma Wing is not unplayable. It's not
Yeah,
nothing what it used to be.
we're not at chromoing yet.
Right, sure. The mystery minion that's
But
reworked and
I haven't seen it. I haven't read
right,
the
whatever.
patch
It
notes.
grows when you level. It
I know
grows
it's
when
a
you level.
1-4. I know it's a 1-4. To be
There you
fair.
go. So anyways, that's something that I need to explore more. But that is the cool thing with this here. I think there's a lot of different things you're going to be able to do, and it's a lot of the time I think it's going to depend on the quality of the shops that are being offered. Whether you want to be playing a tier 1 curve, whether you're going to want to go 3 on
So you're
3.
saying it's
Whether,
playable?
yeah, I
Final,
think I think when you look at this hero power, the minimum is, oh, that's going to be playable, because
yeah, that's fair.
there's a
That's what I
very
see.
very exactly, right? There's a very, very high chance that you're going to be able to level to tier 6 and hero power in the same turn. And that's just good, right? Like a hero that pulls a 6 drop and it goes to 6. Or, let's say you're having a bad game, the very minimum is I'm going to be able to go to 5 and pull a 5 drop. And
Sure.
that's good. Right? We like those heroes. That's what made old Elise so busted. It was like level map, level map, level map, right? And you can emulate at the very minimum, you can emulate level for a 5
Oh
drop.
right, the maps cost 3 gold.
The maps cost 3.
Oh, that's why it's not, because they just need to change how maps cost. I guess.
Yeah, maps with this system, maps would have to cost 0, and the
Yeah,
cost of the
I
hero
was
power.
wondering why it was sounding confusing when I was explaining why isn't it just maps? Because maps cost 3 gold Collins.
Yeah, that's why you said in
Yeah.
terms of the coding, right, that the cost of the map would have to change, or you'd have to make a 0 cost map.
Well, I mean, when with buddies, they make the maps cost 1, so I mean, I'm sure it's like not that hard to. Well, I don't know how hard it is, but I'm sure like it's possible. It is theoretically possible.
Maybe it's just an extra step they didn't
Yeah,
want to
they
go
didn't.
through.
They didn't want to go through exactly. Yeah.
Because the map system made sense because you could bank them, right? So it'd be like, oh, I can map whenever I want. But in this case, it's not
Well,
really
you can
banked.
still bank them. It just doesn't make as much sense.
You mean like a 0 cost map?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could hypothetically bank a 0 cost map.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right.
All right. At least seems playable. Sneed. Did they nerf it to Oblivion? Please tell me. Give a minion death rattle, summon a minion of a random tier, 7 tier lower. What's the difference? Give a minion.
It's the same thing.
Summon.
It's purely just to emphasize that, because okay, when you read the first sentence
From a
says
lower
death rattle.
tavern tier.
Yeah. So people were thinking, wait, does that mean I can get a 1 drop for my 5 drop? Because a 1 drop is a lower tavern tier than 4 drop, right? And now it says give it from a tavern tier lower, which means if you have a 5, it will spawn a 4.
Okay.
So it does the same thing. It's just more clear now.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. So nothing's changed.
Nothing changed.
Why are they
Don't
changing
play
the
the
armor
hero.
rating of the hero then? What's the point? They think this
That's
hero's
probably,
busted or something. I don't understand.
I think that's purely. I think he spawned at armor tier 0, actually, or tier 1.
Did he
Because
really?
they
Why
changed.
did they buff him then?
Well, no. So they
It moves him to armor tier 2.
okay. So what changed with Sneed initially? When they initially nerfed him, the cost became 2, or what was the initial nerf? Because I think they changed
Initially,
it. Yeah,
that was the way back though. It was 2, and then no one
yeah.
played it.
But then they changed it from 2 to 1.
Yeah,
But it would spawn from 1 tavern tier lower,
yeah.
right?
So it's the
Instead of
same. Yeah,
yeah. But I think when they changed it from 2 to 1, I think that's when they put him in armor tier 1.
good.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't want to be. They didn't want to say, "Oh, let's not go crazy here."
And then they should have
But,
kept it that way.
but then they looked at the stats and they were probably,
No,
"Well, let's give Sneed a little bit of armor because nobody's picking him, and everybody that picks him is losing with him." So,
but we can remove the hero because people have skins. Like, I hate it.
because Collins loves the hero too much, we can't remove it. It's Collins' favorite hero.
It's so scary. You can't mess up a hero. Like,
no one plays with Collins. Don't worry about it.
I know, but like, you can't remove a hero ever. Like, that's their argument. Like, you can't ever remove a hero with their philosophy.
I don't think it's ever, but yeah, I agree.
Well,
It
basically that's what they said. We can't ever remove it because
I mean,
they have skins.
Let's say BG's is going on for like 5 years into the future.
Yes, at some point, some designer will change, and the designer will make this decision. Never mind. I don't like this philosophy. Yeah, but right now, the world we're living in, it's we can never remove a hero because they have skins.
Yeah, heroes will not get removed.
I'm not in love with that philosophy.
Not a fan.
No,
it will make it very weird where if we get this like giant hero pool, it does.
Don't we already have a giant hero pool? Are we not in that
I
world?
feel like I still get some pretty good consistency with picking heroes that I want and having heroes that I have experience with, etc. So, but maybe that's just because I play the game so much, right? Yeah.
That only happens with the new heroes that have increased pick rate. Those are the ones. Every other one, I don't have that much consistency. Like, obviously, you can high roll sometimes and have like a lot of good heroes in a row, but the more heroes that are not good, the higher you just have those whiffs where all 4 bad. I just like.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, that's what they're striving to avoid, though, right? With like, say, a change like a pyramid, like
But it's hard. It's hard to do that and also balance both sides, like balance low MMR and really high MMR. Like, it's hard to.
It is very hard.
Yeah. So. And some would argue like, it's not even fundamentally possible with the intention of balancing both, right? You're gonna have imbalances within the pools of players.
So what you are afraid of is that due to their reluctance to remove heroes from the pool, at some point you will have too many bad
We're already
heroes.
at that point, Shade. We're already there.
I really don't get a lot of packs where I'm like,
yeah, you're luckier than me, Shady.
I am lucky.
Yeah, good for you. Okay, I get those. Like, 2, 3. If you get it 3 games in a row, it's so annoying.
But I feel like I am also less picky, right? Like, for instance, Crag. You like Crag or not at all?
I don't like Crag.
I like Crag, right? For me, Crag.
So it's not. You're not even lucky. You're just less picky. Okay, well.
But I like Crag, and Crag is good. You should learn Crag. Crag is
not
good. Crag is off and off, baby.
Crag,
you roll up tier 1.
I don't even know if it's in the pick rates for top 1. And then if you check HS, look, just look at the HS arena.
I don't give a shit about how the other people are playing.
Those pick rates, those are mildly acceptable.
Right?
If they're not in there, it's less.
Take it
it's
from
like
your buddy here. Pick your Crag. Get them first.
It's literally like 30 or less heroes that are in that pool of like 80 something heroes. That's like more than half, way more than half, almost a third that aren't being picked by top 1% players. So, and even top 1% players, like, they're not all. it's not. I wouldn't say they all pick the right things per se. Like there's you were having issue with AFK, right? AFK's in there, and you were saying no, AFK doesn't deserve to be in there.
see.
You know,
I would pick a Crag over AFK.
yeah, exactly. Sure. Right, and I'll take the AFK over the Crag, right? But you can counter both of them out, and we're still the same number, Shady. That's. Anyways, this isn't what I was talking about. I'm just saying, like, it's a bit weird.
It's a bit of a sidetrack,
yeah.
For sure.
It's weird that you can't remove heroes. Like that's not even an option for them currently. That is, I think that is weird. So, anyways, but Sneed, I don't know. This doesn't change anything. Right?
Yes, that was a great explanation for a hero that didn't change at all. But all right,
I don't like the hero anyway. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think the hero should be good. I think it's a very toxic hero. I don't want this to be playable.
Yeah, so make it not playable. Also, still don't like that you can pull from the death rattle. Still don't like that the 6-drops can pull Leroy, and I don't like a gas crawler can pull Leroy. Like that just feels like a bug or an oversight or something. Like why is that in there? That this is available to just instantly.
I have the chance to kill my minion.
No, it's super toxic because like once you get like golden gas crawlers with reborn, because if they're golden, they always have reborn. Because they always do.
I don't like both, man. Like
that one card, by the way, can theoretically wipe your whole board. That one card, if it pulls 3 Leroys in the first one with reborn, it's not going to. I know, but it can pull. It can like usually pull like 2, like 1 or 2 Leroys if it's a golden gas crawler.
2 is asking a lot, but yes,
golden gas crawler reborn. It's like 16% or something that it pulls.
We can let people do the math on that and get back to us. Like how likely.
Regardless, it's too high. And also, possible. That's not even the only like broken thing. You can pull full beasts. Just make a full beast comp, a realistically strong beast comp out of Death Rider. Like I've seen Goldren, Croc, like Golden Croc, Rat Pack, you're just like this.
I want to make sure I get the right. Are we now complaining that Gas Coiler is OP or what is this?
Well, it is OP. But I'm more complaining. I'm more complaining about Leroy. But I'm saying like,
wait. I just want to understand. Do you want Gas Coiler to be nerfed? Do you think it's too strong?
I wouldn't mind it being.
Huh. Okay. That's a card. I understand that.
It's mostly because Leroy is an option. Like if Leroy wasn't an option, it just had the beast nonsense. Like that's more fine. But the fact that you can pull Leroy and just like run full comps out of nowhere, and like a lot of people run it like just out of like their last pick just because like, hey, I can get a Leroy, and then they get the Leroy, and I'm like, come on, please, like, I have a 2% to lose. Please don't pull the Leroy. But yeah, anyways.
Right. I feel like that's just Hearthstone though, like that. It's like the puzzle box.
Yeah,
whatever,
but it's too. I think it's too much variance. I would say
it's too likely that they get bailed out. You mean, or you mean the range?
The variance of gas crawlers too much, even for this RNG game. Like you could literally do nothing and then play a gas crawlers and then win fights, like theoretically.
So from what I hear, your complaint is not that Gas Coiler on average is too strong, but that the high rolls of Gas Coiler should not. Well, the thing is, if the high rolls of Gas Coiler don't exist, then you would not pick the minion.
If it didn't have Leroy, you still played it. Like
yeah. So
when
your
Spore was in, there was no Leroy option, and people would play it the same.
So it's the Leroy that pushed it over the edge for you. It's not that. I hate that people can get 2 Goldens from this.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. It's
all right.
Like let's say I have a 500 health minion. Like I'm not losing to the golden stuff. Whatever. Yeah. Like, but the random Leroy comes in, and then I hit the Leroy instead of killing the rest of the board, so I don't even tie, and I die. Like, how is that okay? Yeah, essentially.
Happened to you recently, maybe Collins, and this is just like a topic, or is this purely theoretical?
No, this happens to me all the time. Honestly, people are that they love Leroys or love.
They love them coilers. They love them golden reborn coilers in the back. You guys know who I'm talking about. You know who you are. You know who you are on the ladder with your golden reborn coilers in the back.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. All right.
Sometimes that's me. Let's be honest. I'm not innocent, but I don't like that is a viable option that I think about. Like,
Yeah,
oh, I have
the
no
last
chance of
resort.
winning, but I have a gas curler. Let me keep playing. Like, I have
Let me
zero
just.
chance to win, but I have a gas curler. I can't not watch the fight. Like, and I've
True.
won
Yeah.
a game. I've won games. I feel so.
Spoilers
I feel so
delivered.
scummy too. Where I just have like gas curler reborn and like. Oh, I get the Leroy first proc, and then I have the reborn, and the Leroy goes in and just win the fight, and I have no business
Right.
winning this.
No, I think it's a fair argument. I'm not sure if I agree with it yet, but I wouldn't
Don't
mind
worry,
the change.
Shady, you'll come around. You always do.
I don't mind the change, right?
Sure,
I
sure, sure.
do. Yeah. All right. So petition for Coiler to not have Leroy as an eligible
I,
target.
I, I mean, I don't think they change stuff based on my rants, unfortunately. But
I mean, Meckrel is still in the
it's
game,
still in
so
the
yeah.
game, yeah, exactly. So they don't listen to me at all, exactly. Thank
All
you,
right.
Shady. I feel much better.
Let's go to the minion changes, calls.
Sure. Minion changes. Gar and Greaseball have been returned to the pool. Gar's in the pool.
Yep. So Greasebot changes.
Is Gar's the same?
Gar's the same.
Is
Gar's the
this?
same.
It's a tier
So
6 8.
Gar is an 8/8.
It's sort
So
of
it's
8-1.
yeah, it used to be an 8/1, but now it's an well, it was an 8/8 when it got removed, right? So it was an 8/1 and then was buffed to an 8/8
All right.
and then got removed. But it is an 8/8 right now. So it's in its buffed state. It's the
Wait,
state it was.
and then Genie and Rag are still in as well.
Yeah. Genie 6, Gar 6,
So
Rag
there's just
5.
an extra elemental.
Not on 6, right? But yeah, on 5. On 5 you have the
What's on
Rag now.
5?
So Rag is now a
Rag
5
is
drop.
on 5.
Rag is now a 5 drop.
Oh.
This will be changed. This will be covered after the grease spot. So we can do grease spot.
Okay, sure. Right. Rag's on 5. Sorry, I haven't read the patch notes.
Yeah, no. This is great. This is great.
Uh,
This is great.
so I
Become
assume
prepared.
Greasebot doesn't have Divine Shield, right?
Yeah, it's a 2/2 instead of a 3/2, and it doesn't spawn with Divine Shield.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yep.
I liked it better with Divine Shield.
Well, in terms of game balance or on your board?
No, on my board, but I mean, if
Yeah,
it
of
had
course.
Divine Shield, it'd be because
The
it
meta
means
would be
like the thing with
Spot.
Greasebot without Divine Shield means it's hard to buff it. Right? You
Yeah.
can't put another
And
module.
if it gets hit, it's
It
dead.
dies. Yeah,
That's
so
a big deal,
the
right? Like old
consistency
grease
goes down.
spot. Exactly. I have not seen a lot of grease spot boards. So I think grease spot right now, like okay, so old grease spot, you tripled into it and you're like, sweet, let me now buy divine shields.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to do that anymore. I don't think you want to. Well, I mean, unless you have no other option, right?
No,
Or
I
you're
mean this
shocked.
is basically the tier 4 Greasebot, but it's a
Well,
+2.
it was a 1/1, right? But
Yeah,
2/1, it was okay.
but
No, but I hear you.
one like what? It's not game breaking as it was before.
But we have seen those nasty macro boards, so maybe we've just had a little bit more exposure to it right now, and we see what's possible. And it still does give 2 health, right? So if you can make a taunted macro, this is still disgusting.
but it's more like Buster.
More work. It's more situational. You take more risks by having it early. So yeah, my instinct here is I'm okay with it right now. We have to see how the meta develops and if people start doing more macro stuff again or not. Right now, it feels fine. I think it's one of those cards where, hey, you have Deflecto and macro on your board. Great. This is what you
It's
want.
more
right?
like Buster, is what I'm saying. Like you kind of have to like
exactly.
work into it instead of
Yeah.
like you
don't
take
want
it and then you work for it, but now it works for you. Yeah.
It's more like your board needs to fit it
Yeah.
already. I don't think you want to build your board around it later.
Yeah. So it works for you. Like it has, it's like, hey, I'm Greaseball. Welcome. And they're like, yeah, we can schedule you in with the Macro comp. Okay, I guess you're working it. Instead of where like it comes in, it's like, I'm Greaseball. Give me the macro. Give me the shield.
Build me a board worthy of my presence.
Yeah. Build me my comp. And you're like, yes, sir, Mr. Grease. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, that is true. That is true. You used to triple into a grease spot. You're like, well, I guess I'm buying divine shields.
Now it's bitch.
Yeah.
But now you're like, well, I can schedule it. And I guess you're working this comp here. Like,
sure. Fair. I hadn't thought about it in that context, but sure.
I just made it up on the fly as well. So
yeah.
No. Little Rag is now at tier 5. This is very interesting because it's been at tier 6 forever, and I would say it's been weird. Like it's been kind of hard to play, I guess.
Yeah.
Just due to everything's been power creeped, I guess, is the problem. So it's hard to play this when everything else is power creeped. So.
It's been one of those 6-drop where you're like, I guess, right? Like you roll like 2 rags.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah. You roll like 2 rags in a genie, and you're looking at the shelf.
Like maybe. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Imagine if that was
right? Like any other 6, you're kind of like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, but that means the equivalent.
Callie and Nadina, and you're like, oh.
No. Like so I just described like 2 rags in a genie, right? So the equivalent would be like 2 Atissas and an Orgazoa. You're like, oh my god!
I mean, double Callie and Nadina is the same.
Yeah, that's still the Nadina's like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna skip that? That's what I'm saying. Like you're like, no, I'm taking like you love it a 6 extra shop. You're like, okay, I know what I'm doing, right? Where Little Rag, you still have to think about it, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your first shop, you'll do it, but yeah.
Same thing with Atissas, right? Like you'll do it. Yeah.
Yep. So, any initial like, do you feel like this is too good, or it's whatever, or it's just fine?
I don't know, Shady. This one I have to play with. I don't have an opinion. You can tell me. You can give me the spoilers.
Sure. It's early days, right? So it's day 3, I think, of the meta. Yeah. The way how I see it right now, I think a lot of people are doing poorly with elementals because they're trying too hard and they probably don't have enough experience playing the old Little Rag Gar genie boards. So I think a very important ingredient.
Gar's still in as well.
Gar's in now, right? Yeah. So you have Gar as an option. So I think what people are doing wrong is they're not playing with Bran. And Bran is so good when you play it. You know, right? Like Tavern Tempest, Reefa Explorer, you get a golden Bran, you make money, you have an amalgam on your board, you play Primal Fin, you get another amalgam, you get a free reroll, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, Bran is disgusting when you have a Little Rag engine. And I think that they were just not having, pretty much whenever you have a good Little Rag Gar board, your turn should feel like APM, kind of. If your turns aren't feeling like APM,
then you need the refreshing as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? But I think people have been forcing it too hard, where they're like, I've got 1 rag, I've got 1 Gar, I'm buying a wildfire and I'm playing it and I'm buffing, and it's like, no, don't buy a random fucking wildfire to buff your board when you have a Little Rag on the board. Roll for the good shit, right? Roll for the reroll, roll for the Tavern Tempest, roll for the Sally, roll for an extra genie, roll for an extra Gar, roll for more Little Rag. I think most people...
You're still playing this tier 6 then.
Yeah, but you kind of... So first of all, there's more copies of Little Rag. That's one side effect.
Right.
Because it's now high drop. So there's now 9 Little Rags instead of 7. So it's a lot easier to get to. And you can get it early and then level. Or you can triple into Genie, play the Genie, and on tier 5, the Genie can give you Rag. So there's a lot of things that are now possible with more Rags in the game in tier 5. I'm not going to sit here and say Elementals is tier 1 or whatever, but I've won several Elemental games over the past few days, and it's felt really like pretty much every of those Elemental games has felt like my old school Elemental games. Bran, reroll, Gar, Rag, let's go. Buy Sally's, buy Tavern Tempests, and just, I even one of them, I had a Golden Hogger. So I could just buy amalgams for nothing, buff my Gars, buff with the Rags, and get 2 free rerolls because amalgam's also an Elemental. So I think good Elemental games they need to feel like you're playing APM, which means that don't just have a rag on your board and then buy every 3 or 4-star elemental you see and play that. That's not good enough. You can't be doing that. If you're doing that, you're not going to get big enough. You're going to die. Yeah, so you need to buy premium elementals. You need to buy the Genie. You need to buy the Gar. Anything that makes you money. Tavern Tempest Elemental. You're going to want to have a brand on your board. And obviously, you know, if you can have something like 2 rags, 2 Gars, brand refreshing, that's the board you're looking for, right? And then shit will triple eventually. Because usually you'll have a Genie as well, and you know the rag will only be tripled, or you'll only have the 1 rag, or you only have the 1 Gar. You'll figure it out, but that's the that's what you need on the board, pretty much.
So it sounds playable, but don't force it.
Yeah, it needs to happen.
Which is what it was before. Anyways.
Well, but it happens easier now.
Yeah, so it's easier, but it's the same concept though.
So something that happens, I guess the way how it happens a lot for me is I have a brand on tier 5 and I find a rag. And then I have a Tavern Tempest. And then I have a Smogger. And suddenly it all kind of gels together because I have a brand. I'd be buying Smogger anyway, and rag is just giving me more value. Oh, what is that? Is that a reroll elemental? Well, it comes in with +4/+4 because I already have a rag on the board. So it's just, it's facilitated.
It flows into the concept.
Yeah, it comes together a lot easier because the rag is on 5. But once again, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, play elementals every game or it's broken or whatever. But you do want to probably play it with brand, and definitely going to want to play it with a reroll elemental.
All right. There wasn't a lot to do with brand, I would say, last patch, if I'm being honest. So this gives you another option. That's my opinion.
Yeah. You can also have Murlocs in and then have an Amalgam, and then you could still kind of do other stuff, right? You can have the little rag, and then it turns out it's a Murloc game anyway, and then you sell it later. That's usually what happened back in the day. You would have rags on your board for tempo and then switch into Amalgadon.
Yeah, I mean, but everything was switching to Amalgadon, so
that is correct. Oh no, you'd have Callies, right? Callies would stay. But the rags would just actually got sold.
The Callies would eventually be sold from your last Amalgadon.
No.
You know,
no, that's rare, right? Because Nadina shields Callie as well. So
yeah, but it's not better than Poison Divine Shield, you know.
But it also buffs your Amalgadons, right? Having your Callies on. I would say most of my games.
If that Callie ain't golden, get it out of here. So.
Get out of here. Sell that sucker. Yeah. Double Callie, give me my 5th Amalgadon.
Give me exactly. Legit.
Now that is true.
I have done that.
That is true. No, I mean, I think we have all done that indeed. But that's Seafood Slinger, right? That's Seafood Slinger. Yeah. Made that possible.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
It's still true. Did Genie get changed?
Quality of life change.
Another element. Oh, okay.
So
you always get your eye. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Why? They realized it was possible.
It makes Golden Genie a lot better, right? Because Golden Genie, how often would you be like, they just?
It's hard. I know. I moved my board position just to get the proc. It's annoying.
Just like put the brand in the front, and then the Genie, like, please just don't hit the Genie first, and then so it's good. I think it's a significant thing. It does matter.
Yeah, this does matter. That matters for sure. It's like they learned from Yashroch, so.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's cool. Oh yeah, Baron, right? You have this with Baron. It now also works because you might not have enough board space for the elementals, but you'll still get the elementals. So Genie Baron is a thing.
That's scary.
Like Macaw Genie Baron, right? Like wee.
Oh, you get your full board.
Print elementals, baby. And then and on 5, like you tripled into the Genie and you're still on 5, and you can like get rags, right? So yeah, there's definitely some cool shit you can do.
Yeah, that does sound very, very strong, actually.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that it just needs to happen again, right? You need to triple into the Genie.
You need to buy a Macaw, and have more taunts than one, right? So I guess you need to get a Baron. I think
go first.
Baron's a lot easier.
Baron Genie, yeah. But yeah, it is something to look out for now, right? Like before, you'd be like,
doesn't work.
Sure, I could do that for one turn, but I never have enough board space a turn after. And now you're like, it doesn't matter if I have no board space. I'm just going to farm elementals. So, cool stuff.
This one is already.
Yeah,
already
this
hitting
genie
the
change is
broken thing.
broken.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, that's my initial reaction. I don't know about this. Okay, the Chroma Wing. How do they fix this, or quote unquote? Um, so it's a 1-4 and you're getting attacked now. Sure.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? I don't know. Like
It's
my initial
okay.
thoughts
So
of this was not correct. So you just tell me.
right. So when you look at it, it starts out. So let's say it's a chroma pair. I think that's how you'd buy it, right? You have a chroma pair. So you have a chroma pair on your board.
Even if you have no synergy, it's like a 4-4 or a
Yeah,
5-4.
it's decent. So
You can
when we
buy
look at
this
it,
always.
it's tempo. So it's one of those. It's like Tipper-esque. It doesn't gain the health like Tipper does, right? But it will be big enough that it trades with other stuff. And sometimes 4 health is enough for it to value trade. So I've had it on my board. It's not like I've played a lot of it, but it's felt like fine. It's like, like I had a Millhouse game where I had 2 of these on my boards, and it allowed
I
me to
mean,
level a bit.
it's statistically better than most ones,
It's
even
it's
with no
more tempo,
synergy.
yes. So, but the reason why we buy a lot of the 1-drops, right? It's because it does other stuff than just the body, right? Like we buy
Yeah, but like all
supplementals.
the other like bad ones that don't do anything,
Yeah.
it's better
Sure.
than
It
all
it
of them.
outperforms like a rock pool very fast.
Yeah.
It outperforms like whatever, like a
Any 1-drop that doesn't do anything,
yeah,
essentially.
like you'd probably still prefer micro mummies, right? You'd probably
Okay,
still want your
sure.
money.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those. Sure, I'll buy it, right? Like I don't want to buy a rock pool. I don't want to buy a bablet.
Yeah.
I'll take the chroma wing instead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, but it doesn't feel. It's not like I fight
It's
someone
not
and be
winning
like,
you the
that
game.
chroma
No,
wing.
it's not. It's not the other. It's not like the other one. Okay. Sure. Okay. So
Yeah.
this is a good enough nerf, you think?
Yeah, I have not fought anyone and thought to myself, "Oh my god, they have chroma wings." So
Okay.
in 3 days, that has not happened. So
Okay.
I would say it's a successful nerf in terms of not making it oppressive. Absolutely.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other this is a big change, so any other thing you want to talk about it?
The you do notice when you're on tier 6, you used to have old chroma, right? So now we're talking the chroma that started out as a 1/3 and would double. I do miss that. Like, okay, I'm on tier 6. I have this absolute chunker of a 100. Oh no, it's 16 minutes or whatever. So it's kind of small on tier 6.
It's
That's the one
small,
thing.
okay.
You gotta you're used to like, oh, I'm on 6. This thing is gonna one shot everything. It's like, oh, not really. So that's the one thing. But I think overall, it's fine because it has 4 health.
Okay.
It starts at 4 health and it still scales okay. At the start, it scales a little bit faster as well if you have more dragons, but then obviously the exponential scaling catches up immediately. So I'm not sure if I like design-wise the card more than the old chroma, but I understand why we can't have that exponential scaling anymore because Cookie is in, and let's say buddies would ever come back. Vol'jin, right, is very strong with
I'm so shocked that Cookie hasn't been changed.
Yeah.
I was really confident that'd be like, this breaks our game. Like
Surely,
I really
yeah.
thought like, oh, that was gonna happen. But no, oh my baby Cookie, no, I'm not touching you. And it's
Yeah.
still here. So I'm just like, wow.
This is
Actually shocked.
this is the third iteration of chroma we've had in a short amount of time, right? But like Cookie is like, I'm still here, it's fine. I don't break the game at all, right?
Yeah, I don't I'm
Yeah, it's a bit
flabbergasted.
weird. It's
Yeah.
a bit weird that you can still do elemental, because the stuff with the elementals is also a little bit more prevalent now because people do lean elementals a bit more. So if you are doing Nomi elemental stuff, the cookie things, you can still do that, right? I did that earlier today on stream where let's say you have a 50-50 elemental frozen in the shop, you cookie that, next turn it's 100-100. It's very it's not a lot of people know that, right? So Nomi is
So why are
an
you telling them then?
because we're a podcast, man. That's what we do.
That's not what I do,
And
Shady.
the
That's
people you're playing against, they know.
I
Collins.
know they know.
They know, and they know that So yeah.
But
So
it's not ingrained, Shady. They might
right,
forget.
it's not. Yeah, no, I forget sometimes.
Yeah.
So the Nomi buff is, you can kind of look at it like an aura, and when you Cookie Chemist, the elemental in the shop, it's now that aura is now part of the minion's own stats, and then the turn after that, the aura gets reapplied,
Yeah.
and then that's how you end up with like
It-
100 instead of 50-50.
It's kind of like the strong. What's that pirate card? South Sea Captain. Yeah. It's
Healthy
like
cap,
it's like South Sea Captain, right? When you
like
cookie
aura.
it,
Yeah,
you'll get the
yeah.
buff.
I don't want to say it's exactly the same because that one applies immediately, whereas the Nomi buff does not apply immediately.
Yeah,
It's
the
not like you.
Nomi buff is at the start of the turn.
Yeah, it gets applied like that.
But
So yeah, but yeah, the TLDR on Chroma Wing is, I do think the game is better now. There was too much reward for rolling Chroma Wings early,
oh,
whereas now it's like okay,
I thought they were nerfing prizes too, but it's just one. Okay,
yeah,
it's just one. Never
Great
mind.
Deal is now 5 instead of 6.
That doesn't do anything. You
I've
still take
slammed
it,
Great
right?
Deal every time
Yeah,
it was up.
yeah. Okay, so
I made the comparison where you have the unlimited coin. Whenever you pick unlimited coin, it is unlikely that you will survive for 5 more turns. So to get the full value of the Great Deal,
yeah.
which is ridiculous to say that
And
you
it's
get
much
one
better to
gold per
get
turn.
the power spike front loaded.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is
Take
very
the lump
true.
sum. Take the lump sum, guys. If you if you win in the lottery, don't be taking the coin. Essentially, right? I
The
don't know if this makes sense to you, but like in the
I
lottery,
understand.
yeah, okay,
Yeah. So is it like a monthly payment type thing
yeah,
or
something
what do
like
you
I
mean?
don't know. I haven't won.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's I guess then we talk like inflation type stuff, right?
Yeah,
Where you
right.
want.
Yeah, it doesn't account for inflation at
But
all.
there is inflation in BGs as
Yeah,
well, guys. Right?
yeah.
Your 5 gold that you get on turn 8 is not worth, or sorry, the 5 gold that you get
Over
on
5
turn
turns.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 5 gold you have on that turn 8 is worth more than the gold you have later, right? And
Yeah.
because you get that gold earlier, that means you get like your dark gaze earlier, and then you can start, like
Ramping.
getting
and,
that growth, right? So
yeah.
it's basically just money management. You want that money early so that you can invest and then get big returns in the game. So
Something like
great
that.
deals. It's hard to state just how much better Great Deal is than say an unlimited coin.
Yeah, so this doesn't do anything basically. All right, good.
You
But I
still
mean,
think
it does something, but not enough for it to matter.
Yeah,
Like you're not
not
changing.
enough.
You gotta change the power level of cards enough where other options become relevant, and
Yeah.
this does not do that.
Your approach last time, if I remember correctly, is just make the other shit OP, right?
Make it
P enough.
better, yeah.
Yeah, make
But,
it
but
like double, right? Kind of.
I don't actually know if I would do that approach. Like if I would ship it, but I would definitely try it.
Yeah, let's see, and then let's see
And
why
I
I
would
was
ship
wrong.
some of it. You know what I mean? Like something would change. I wouldn't leave the prizes in the same state for months like we have here. Things would change. Like I would immediately say, "Oh, these prizes never get played realistically unless they're the only options." So let's
Yeah.
look at changing
You
some
gotta-
of them so
you gotta
that
make
they
it
might
better
be
for
played. Yeah. So obviously, I wouldn't have like, oh yeah, let's double all the other prizes and then ship it immediately and see how our players break the game. No, I would like look at it and see, which one's like more acceptable, and some things would change. Like you would have more options, I think, than do I hit Great Dealer on the house? No, I lost. Like that's kind of the meta in high MMR, and the problem is like that might not be the meta in low MMR, right? Like low MMR. Oh, you can pick any prize, and then like they look at the stats, but like it's like,
Yeah, we covered this, right? Where in high MMR, on the house is almost always translated into discover a 6-drop this turn, which is way better than you're still on tier 4.
It's a tier 3 prize or so, right? Isn't that what the tier 3 prize is?
Yeah,
Discover 6.
discover 6. That's true.
Yeah, but you get it 4 turns earlier.
Like shelf something, I think, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And that prize is bad at the time you get it, like because everyone's already gotten that prize 4 turns ago. It's like why take that now? You're looking for something else.
That is a very good point to make. Basically, on the house is one of the shittier turn 12 prizes, but it's still a turn 12 prize, right? It's still a turn 12 prize. Because it's not like you hate going to 6 anyway, right? Like you want to be on 6. You want to be on 6 in a prize lobby, and the 6 drop is helping you do that, right? Like even if it's a coiler, right? It's just like level, house, coiler. Oh, I didn't even lose the fight, and I'm on 6 now. Whee! So yeah, anyways, we don't need to turn it into a prize rant. We did that last time.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
But I mean, this doesn't change prize games at all.
It doesn't change how you approach prize games. You still take a great deal. Correct.
And that's all the changes. Okay. Cool. Any final thoughts? I don't have anything to add. Like
no, I'm thinking about it. I think that the one that's really to keep an eye on is Lich and see how that evolves. If we get this really standardized way of playing, and if people can make it consistent enough, I think it might be a really toxic experience, right? Where you're like, oh, it's whatever it is, like turn 1 Lich is gonna level, 2, 3, 4. So it's like you hit a turn 6, turn 7 Lich, you're like, oh Jesus, right? I'm taking 15, basically, right? You're like a turn 6.
New Shutterwalk, I'm calling it now.
Yeah, I was thinking about Shutterwalk as well, but then Soren pointed out that it's really more like a Tog, right? Because with Shutter, you knew that he would deal 15 and then also win the lobby. Where with Lich, he's gonna have like 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, but not like, oh, that's 2 Atistas and an Orgazil.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's true. Okay.
Yeah, it's more the Tograggle experience where you're like, well, this Tograggle is hero power to the last 2 turns. I guess I'm taking 15. Whee! So yeah, we don't want too many of those heroes. We don't want them at all, actually, like because it's not a fun experience that you just run into them and like, oh, I guess I'm playing this game.
It's funny. It's funny how the armor change has become the backbone of like this health, the health of the game. Where it was just implemented because like Shutterwhack was like too stupid, and they're like, oh, let's just add this like this fix, and then it's like now like the game's kind of based around this damage. It's like it's now kind of like intrinsic to how this game functions.
Yeah, imagine if there was no cap and you'd have Togwaggle in the game. Right?
It's funny as hell.
Because it's now kind of acceptable, right? It's acceptable. It's only 50, only like 15, which is more than whatever percentage of your starting life total. It's an absurd number. Yeah,
like 36%.
It's
37.
37. It's high enough. It's high. Imagine in TFT, right? That you're on your what is that? Like your 5th fight, your 6th fight, and you lose 30% of your health.
Well, it's near 40, right? I think it's 37.5, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's only 30, right? Just imagine in TFT, you're like, donk, see the health bar drop. Like, it's so yeah. I mean, this is not TFT, right? I'm not saying that it should be. BG's is a very, very high tempo, high pace game. You have one.
What script are you reading from?
Oh, I'm just like reading like buy more packs.
This is a very tempo, high-paced game. What is going on there?
I mean, there's a reason that I do like playing it, right? Like you do get rewarded for those like in the moment decisions, like the very, very fast. The nature of the game is that it just evolves so fast, right? Because like you have one bad fight that dictates probably how you're playing the rest of the game, right? Like you may have to take an earlier triple or this or that. But that doesn't mean that I enjoy taking 15, right? Like we want to minimize that as much as possible because it's such a bad feeling. Like I had it earlier. I think I had 2 days ago where it wasn't Maiev, right? So I had a game plan mapped out and I was on like 37 HP and I hit a Maiev and she had turn 7 Orgazzoa Atissa and some coins banked or something because the Atissa was huge. So I take minus 15. Turn after that, I think I fight a Lich, who then has an unfair board, also an unnegotiable minus 15. So I had a plan, and then I had 7 health. So that was really one of those things where I was sitting like, really game. Okay, 7 health, and there's nothing I could have really done about it. So that is something that happens more often if we have these heroes where, like Maiev has been in the game for a long time and we know that turn 7 into a spike turn and that was a particularly good Maiev. But if we have these heroes that start dealing 15 consistently earlier on, So I would say from all the heroes that got reworked from the patch, Lich is the one to keep an eye on and see that it doesn't become too toxic.
The other ones, I guess Elise also got reworked. I wouldn't say the other three got reworked, right?
Yeah, it's
just
like
Elise.
small nerf, small.
But Elise doesn't deal 15. No, because you get one
at least
card.
It's more just like flexible, I'd say. At least I like right now.
Yeah, that one seems more balanced. Okay. All right. I've learned enough. I think I will probably play.
All right.
But we do have to finish this podcast.
Let's wrap it up then. Let's send it off, Collins. Number 69.
Yeah. Keep in mind, guys, I believe next week we're gonna have a pretty interesting one, right? So on Wednesday, make sure you stay around for that. I don't exactly know the time, right? Because I don't think it's gonna be our usual time. It might be a little bit earlier, right? So,
but I mean, the episode will be available, right? So this is only for the live recording, but the episode will obviously be available on all the
you can only get this live, JD. What didn't you hear? No.
Only live experience. Okay.
You better find it. Nah, that's true. That's true. If you're listening on YouTube or our podcast, then it doesn't matter when it comes out. Yeah, right. You get it earlier, basically. But other than that, the live people need to know what time it is. Now I'll probably post it on Twitter or something. But
it'll be Wednesday, right? So Wednesday
sometime, Copium.
All nice time.
But thank you guys for joining us for this episode. I wasn't feeling that good in the beginning, but now I feel better. So Shitty's like, I'm good.
yes. You feel better, chat. Good job, chat. Good job.
It wasn't chat's fault. I read like one comment on chat, but it's fine. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. I hope you guys had a good time, enjoyed it, and learned something from Shady because I didn't really have anything to add in this conversation. But hey, it's all good. And maybe play some games and then see where we go from there. Any final thoughts?
No, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week for the special episode.
Yep.